What if the way you touch a woman is actually telling her whether she should trust you before you ever say a word? Think about that. Two men can make the exact same physical gesture. One makes a woman feel comfortable, the other makes her instinctively pull away. Same hand, same gesture, completely different reaction. Why? Because attraction isn't created by touch alone. It's created by what the touch communicates. And here's the part most men completely miss. A woman isn't only asking herself, do I like this touch? Her nervous system is also asking, am I safe with this person? Does he notice my reaction? Can I slow this down whenever I want? And perhaps the most important question, does he actually understand me? Today, we're going to break down the psychology behind touch that can feel warm, natural, exciting, and emotionally safe without rushing, forcing, or turning the moment into something awkward. And stay until the end. Because the final principle isn't actually about where you touch her. It's about something much more powerful, knowing when not to touch her. And once you understand that, you'll understand why some of the most attractive men barely need to touch at all. Principle number 1, touch is communication. Let's start with something simple. Touch is a language. Before you touch someone, you're communicating something. A light touch can communicate warmth. A hug can communicate comfort. Holding someone's hand can communicate closeness. But the exact same physical action can feel completely different depending on the relationship, situation, timing, and whether the other person welcomes it. That's why copying some magic touch technique from the internet doesn't work, because attraction isn't mechanical, it's relational. Imagine you're talking with a woman you've known for a while. She's laughing, she's relaxed, you're both comfortable. You briefly touch her hand while making a joke. She smiles and stays engaged. Compare that with meeting someone for the first time and immediately putting your hands on her. The physical action might be identical, but the context isn't. And context changes everything. So instead of thinking, where should I touch her? Start thinking, what does this moment already communicate? That's a completely different mindset. You're no longer trying to get a reaction. You're paying attention to the reaction that's already happening. And that's where real confidence begins. Principle number 2, safety comes before excitement. Here's a psychological principle you should remember. Excitement without safety can feel like pressure. Safety without any emotional connection can feel distant. But when comfort and attraction exist together, that's where chemistry can grow. Think about a roller coaster. The ride is exciting because you know the restraints are secure. The safety doesn't destroy the excitement, it makes the excitement possible. The same basic idea applies to physical affection. If someone feels respected and free to say yes or no, closeness can become much more enjoyable. And there's an important distinction here. A confident man isn't thinking, how far can I go? He's thinking, is she comfortable being here with me? That difference is enormous because pressure focuses on your desired outcome. Awareness focuses on the other person's experience, and people can feel that difference. Principle number 3, start with the most natural touch. If you're already in a comfortable relationship or dating situation, don't turn physical affection into a complicated strategy. Start naturally. A greeting hug, holding hands, a brief touch on the arm during conversation, a playful high five, helping someone up. These moments are useful because they aren't loaded with pressure. They're ordinary forms of human connection. And here's where things become interesting. Watch what happens after the touch. Does she remain relaxed? Does she smile? Does she continue engaging? Does she voluntarily move closer, or does she create distance? The reaction gives you information. But here's the mistake people make. They treat every smile as permission for more. That's not how human interaction works. A smile can mean many things. So don't turn one positive signal into an assumption. Instead, look for consistent mutual engagement. Comfort tends to show itself through a pattern, not one isolated gesture. And if you're unsure, you can simply ask, Sometimes the most confident sentence in the world is this okay? Principle number 4, the pause is more powerful than the move. Here's a principle most people never hear about: the pause. Imagine you're sitting next to someone you like. There's a moment of closeness. Instead of immediately escalating physical contact, you simply stay present. You maintain the conversation. You smile. You let the moment breathe. Why can that be powerful? Because you're not treating every moment of chemistry like a countdown. You're allowing the other person space to participate. And that changes the emotional dynamic. There's no chase, no pressure, no feeling of, if I don't respond right now, something is going to happen anyway. The pause communicates, I'm comfortable here. You don't have to rush. And ironically, giving someone freedom can make closeness feel more natural because genuine attraction needs room to breathe. Principle number 5, pay attention to reciprocity. Now we get to one of the most important concepts in the entire video: reciprocity. Healthy physical chemistry isn't a one-person performance. It's a conversation. You move slightly closer, they remain close, they initiate contact, you respond, they hold your hand, you hold theirs, they hug you, you return the hug. The important thing is that both people are participating, and reciprocity doesn't mean she didn't move away, therefore she wants more. That's not reciprocity. Reciprocity means active mutual participation. There's a huge difference. Silence isn't enthusiasm. Stillness isn't necessarily agreement. And lack of resistance isn't the same as willingness. That's why you should look for positive engagement rather than merely the absence of rejection. This one distinction can completely change how you approach physical affection. Principle number 6, the most attractive touch is often the least sexual. Here's something counterintuitive. If your goal is to create emotional closeness, don't make every touch sexual. Sometimes the most meaningful physical contact is incredibly simple: a warm hug after a difficult day, holding hands while walking, a reassuring touch on the arm, a gentle embrace when saying goodbye, sitting close together while talking. Why? Because these touches communicate, I'm here, not, I want something from you. That's a huge psychological difference. When physical contact becomes a constant attempt to escalate intimacy, the other person can start feeling like every touch has an agenda. But affectionate touch without an immediate expectation can communicate genuine care, and genuine care can create deeper emotional connection. Principle number 7, your body language speaks first. Before your hands ever make contact, your body is already communicating. Your posture, your facial expression, your distance, your eye contact, your tone of voice, your movements. Imagine someone approaching you very quickly, standing extremely close, staring intensely, and reaching toward you. Even before they touch you, your nervous system may become alert. Now imagine someone approaching calmly, respecting your space, speaking naturally, and allowing you to choose whether to come closer. Same destination, completely different experience. That's why physical touch shouldn't be isolated from body language. The touch is only one sentence in a much larger conversation. If everything before the touch communicates pre-sure, the touch probably won't suddenly feel comforting. Principle number 8, notice the pullback. Now let's talk about something incredibly important. What happens when she pulls away? The wrong response is to chase. The right response is to create space. Maybe she needs more room. Maybe she's distracted. Maybe she's uncomfortable. Maybe she simply doesn't want physical contact in that moment. You don't need to know which explanation is true. You only need to recognize the signal. She wants more distance right now. And here's the paradox: respecting that boundary isn't a loss, it's maturity. If someone knows you will respect their boundaries, they don't have to spend energy defending them. That can make interactions feel calmer and more comfortable. A person should never feel that saying no, moving away, or asking you to stop will create an argument. That's what emotional safety actually looks like. Principle number 9, Asking doesn't kill chemistry. Some people think asking for consent makes a romantic moment awkward. It doesn't have to. The difference is how you ask. You don't need to turn every interaction into a legal contract. Sometimes it's as simple as, "Can I hug you?" Or, "Is this comfortable?" Or, "Want to hold hands?" And then accept the answer. No persuasion, no guilt, no, "Come on," no, "Why not?" Just respect the response. And here's something fascinating. When someone knows their answer will genuinely be respected, they can relax. And relaxation is important for connection because someone who's worried about how you'll react to their boundaries can't fully relax around you. So, consent isn't the enemy of chemistry. Pressure is. Principle number 10. Don't turn touch into a formula. You've probably seen advice online like, "Touch her here, wait 3 seconds, then move your hand there." Forget the formula. Real people aren't video game characters. There's no universal sequence that makes someone attracted to you. What works in one relationship might feel completely unnatural in another. Instead, focus on three things: context, comfort, communication. If the relationship is new, move naturally. If you're already close, affectionate touch may feel more normal. If she's uncomfortable, stop. If you're unsure, ask. And if the moment doesn't naturally call for touch, don't force one. That's confidence. You don't need to manufacture physical contact to prove attraction. Principle number 11. The secret isn't touch. Now we're getting to the biggest lesson. You clicked this video because you wanted to know, how do you touch a woman so she feels safe but excited? But the deeper answer is, you don't create that feeling with your hands. You create the conditions where mutual affection can happen naturally. Think about the difference between, how can I make her feel something, and how can we both feel comfortable and connected? The second question changes everything. Because attraction isn't about controlling another person's emotional response. It's about creating an interaction where both people have freedom to participate. And sometimes the most attractive thing you can do is nothing. You sit there, you talk, you laugh, you listen, you let the moment exist. And if she wants closeness, she has room to move toward you. The final psychological shift. So let's put everything together. If you want physical affection to feel safe and exciting, remember these principles. 1. Context matters. 2. Safety comes before excitement. 3. Start naturally. 4. Don't rush the moment. 5. Look for active reciprocity. 6. Not every touch needs to be sexual. 7. Your body language speaks before your hands do. 8. Respect distance immediately. 9. Asking can actually build trust. 10. Stop looking for formulas. And finally, 11. Remember that touch isn't the goal. Connection is. Because if someone feels respected around you, if they know you notice their boundaries, if they know their no will be accepted, and if they genuinely enjoy being around you, then physical affection doesn't need to feel like a strategy. It can simply become part of the relationship. And here's the thought I want you to remember. The strongest form of confidence isn't knowing how to touch someone. It's knowing that you don't need to. You don't chase every opportunity. You don't force every moment. You don't interpret silence as permission. You don't treat attraction like a technique. You pay attention. You communicate. You respect. And when affection is genuinely mutual, you won't have to force the moment. It will happen naturally. If this video changed the way you think about attraction and confidence, subscribe, because in the next video, we're going even deeper into the psychology of why emotional safety can actually make attraction stronger.